We did a public offer in 2010.
Right.
Let the customers through.
Sure.
And at that particular public offer,
Right.
we became a public company and undertook to make best efforts, subject to CMA approvals,
Right.
to list the shares of the company. So this is part of that whole exercise, to let Kenyans, one, own the company. It is a Kenyan company. And secondly, for the shareholders to discover their real value at the Securities Exchange.
Deacons raised 701 million shillings in that 2010 public offer, 99 million shillings shy of its target. It describes itself as a lifestyle brands retailer that started in Kenya in 1958. It currently has 350 shareholders, with the top 10 owning a majority of the operation.
We're listing by introduction. We are not raising any new capital. We raised capital in 2010. We've invested that through 2011. And therefore, this is purely and primarily just listing by introduction so that the share can find its value.
Stores like this Mr. Price in downtown Nairobi are becoming a lot more common in Kenya and around East Africa because of a growing middle class. But they face stiff competition from second-hand clothes dealers in informal markets across this continent who sell cheap clothes, some of which are supposed to be donations to the emerging world.
Mitumba is an interesting sector, one which we continue to watch and continue to encourage government to regulate in a much bigger way. Africa is littered with what we call second-hand clothing. And second-hand clothing is primarily donations from the Western world in order to alleviate poverty in Africa. And unfortunately, what happens is that these donations are supposed to be given out for free to the poor.
Because of loopholes in the market, some new merchandise such as shoes and clothing also enter East Africa disguised as second-hand, eating into the market of players like Deacons.
I look for quality and I look for versatility and also funk and also what's trendy, as in what's in now. Because if I come to a shop like Mr. Price or any other, say, shop in town, I probably get something I can get off the magazines as opposed to Gikomba in a easier manner, because then I'll have to really go searching. As in, if I just come here, I know this is in.
The firm operates 31 stores in East Africa, with the majority in Nairobi and Mombasa in Kenya, but also one each in Kampala and Kigali. It has set aside $2 million to open 3 more stores in Uganda and projects higher net revenues.
We closed last year with 2.4 billion Kenya shillings. We're looking at getting to the 3 billion mark this year. So that's all based on our expansion program that we have mapped out, where our business plan suggests that we should be at the about 50 stores mark by the end of 2014.
Deacons is awaiting approvals from the Capital Markets Authority in Kenya for the planned listing of all its shares. It operates 10 brands, many of them through distribution agreements with South African and international brands, including Woolworths, Truworths, Identity, and Adidas.
Africa is amazing, in spite of the problems that we face. GDPs are growing fairly strongly, in spite of the volatility of the exchange rates, hyperinflation that we've been seeing in the last 6 months or so, infrastructure breakdown. You've seen the roads around East Africa following the rains that we have. There are challenges, but because GDP is growing, because governance is improving in African governments, the middle class is beginning to form and is beginning to consume products. So we think there's a big place to play.